Tonight, GFG Alliance sends a letter to the Whyalla community promising hope for the steelworks. And authorities release more snapper babies into Port Pirie waters to replenish stocks.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamane begins now.
Good evening. Whyalla Steelworks owner Sanjeev Gupta has spoken out once again to reassure the local community amid issues surrounding the facility. The city's mayor says the letter was heartening, saying the steelmaking plant is running at a profit for the first time in years.
A message thanking the people of Whyalla.
Really heartening to see the letter from Mr Sanjeev Gupta directed to Whyalla and its community, thanking us for all the hard work that we've been undertaking for the last 12 months, which now makes our plant a profitable, viable business.
With the steelworks plant now operating in the black, the city's mayor says it's a credit to all GFG workers.
At the plant and also out at the mines, the way they've turned this business around.
Also saying it gives locals the confidence Whyalla's industry is still strong, operating for future generations.
I think it's really important that everyone knows that we are well supported within the state but also nationally.
And with Mr Gupta's finances grabbing media attention across the world, Mayor McLaughlin says there are many other exciting projects the city has to look forward to.
Our economy is diversifying in so many other areas. In tourism, we've got the new school that's on the way to being completed, which is very exciting. Proposed hydrogen plant. We've got the defence industry on our doorstep.
In his letter, Mr Gupta also says he has received multiple offers for refinancing from large lenders and is now in advanced stages of due diligence. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
150,000 baby snapper have been released into the Spencer Gulf today as part of a program to desperately replenish stocks. Despite being round 2 of the $500,000 initiative, there are still questions whether it could bring forward the snapper fishing ban.
These snapper fingerlings could be a species saviour in the Spencer Gulf.
And we're about to release the second 150,000 into Spencer Gulf.
SARDI scientists working around the clock to develop the spawning program after snapper stocks reached a critical low. A drastic ban was implemented across much of the state. Now touching down today to release round 2 of the program off Port Pirie shores.
These fish through that really early vulnerable phase of being small and susceptible, so we've got them to a competent size and we're putting them in the water and giving them the best possible chance to help kickstart the population.
A total of 300,000 fingerlings have now been released, but whether the ban could be lifted earlier still remains in murky waters.
3 to 5 year investment before these fish grow out, so it may bring forward the opportunity to catch a snapper from where we might have been landing. It's a bit early to tell what it will exactly do.
But there are high hopes for the baby snapper to survive their next journey.
Really looked after, and there's an emotional connection with them, you would say, with some of the technical staff, so they're really keen to make sure these animals are successfully released.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
2 26-year-old men have been arrested after allegedly breaking into the Gladstone Hotel on Saturday night. At around 11 o'clock, the alarm was raised in the unoccupied hotel on Bondowi Street when noises were heard from the building's balcony. Police say one of the men was allegedly carrying an offensive weapon and a flick knife. Both will appear in court next month. Meanwhile, a 14-year-old has been arrested in Port Lincoln after allegedly trying to break into a car over the weekend. Police were called to Sleaford Terrace just after 6:30 Saturday morning after reports youths were acting suspicious in the area. On arrival, officers observed a teenager trying to open a parked vehicle in a driveway. Police say the suspect attempted to hide from officers who later located him. He'll be due to face court at a later date. And a 46-year-old woman, a 33-year-old and 55-year-old man, all from Peterborough, have been arrested following an alleged break-in. On Monday morning last week, police attended a car fire on Panaru Road, Peterborough. Police then searched the registered vehicle's Jamestown address, where they alleged the home had been ransacked. Police say the owners of the address were away and returned to many goods stolen, including significant heirloom items. The trio will appear in court at a later date. With this year's bushfire season set to wrap up across the region this month, the state government has released a draft plan for consultation. It's hoped the plan will identify and manage major risks for future incidents over the next few years.
It's the plan set to safeguard South Australian communities during future bushfire seasons. The state government releasing its draft State Bushfire Management Plan for 2021 to 2025 for community consultation.
We know that the changing climate means we're seeing greater fire risk, not less. So having this plan in place, having that good plan for the next 4 years, and then having another plan to go into the 4 years post that will be just really important.
The strategic plan aiming to identify and understand risks and support coordination of bushfire management.
The 1920 bushfire season was the worst, on record in the country, but it's happened once, which means there's every chance it will happen again. So we have to be better prepared.
The development of the plan was one of 15 recommendations made by former Australian Federal Police Commissioner Mick Keelty following the state's devastating 2019 to 2020 bushfire season. In a statement, Emergency Services Minister Vincent Tarzia says the state government's $97.5 million response to the review is an investment in South Australia to keep our communities safe during bushfires.
Keen to hear from people and just help create a document that's well informed and valid for those next 4 years.
It's hoped the plan will be completed in time for the next bushfire danger season, with consultation closing on May 3. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, the Port Augusta Renewable Energy Park constructs its first wind turbine, and the RAA warning to drivers to stay focused out on South Australia's roads. Welcome back. Clare Valley Aerodrome is reaching new heights with the opening of an all-weather runway and lighting upgrades. Many flying enthusiasts attending the celebrations, with a local group also receiving a state award.
Touching down at Clare Valley Aerodrome. This local flying group ecstatic with the upgrades.
We're celebrating the opening of our airfield in respect of being bitumised and lights at night time, and also we've received the Airfield of the Year award as well.
An accolade to their hard work since the airfield opened in 2014.
Most of us are aviation enthusiasts, and we've got a lot of pilots here, and that's the reason we've got the airfield, so that they can house their aircraft here.
Pilots flying from interstate to attend the milestone, saying it's a game changer for the community.
A jet aircraft like the PC-24, which carries about 15 people, and everything below that. So it's helicopters, private aircraft, small jets. It covers everything that Clare Valley really needs to cover.
Local leaders also attending the celebration, with joint government funding and Clare Valley Council giving the airfield a boost.
10 years ago we didn't have a strip in Clare, and there's a whole bit of the mid-north where really pretty hard to fly into. There's a few private strips around, and this has been a revelation.
Great privilege to be here, and it's also a great tribute to the Clare Valley community and the volunteers in particular.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Port Augusta renewable energy project has reached a major stage in its construction. Our reporter Katrina Musson has more from the site.
Construction at the Port Augusta Renewable Energy Park behind me has reached a major milestone with the installation of its first wind turbine. Led by Iberdrola, the project was given the green light in 2019, with construction commencing in October last year. This wind turbine is one of 50 installed over the length of the project. Once completed, the facility will boast a 317 megawatt hybrid wind and solar farm, with its electricity output expected to be enough to power 180,000 households each year.
Well, it's actually tracking very well. The company doing the construction, in fact, the several companies that are on the ground doing the construction are doing a fantastic job.
In a statement, Iberdrola's CEO says, "We are delighted to achieve this milestone at the Port Augusta Renewable Energy Park, and investing in this project
project is part of Iberdrola's growth strategy, one that provides customers with reliable and affordable clean energy.
That's the type of project that we need, and there's even plans to put significant grid-scale storage there.
Around 200 jobs have been created during construction, with 20 full-time roles promised during commercial operation. The project is expected to be completed by the end of the year.
An increasing number of South Australian motorists have been reported for driving while distracted. The RAA warning motorists the risk is much greater than a hefty fine, especially on our regional roads.
A costly and dangerous act.
Whether it's personal grooming, eating or using a mobile phone, driver distraction is one of the biggest causes of crashes on our roads and can have tragic consequences.
RAA's senior manager says the state's police figures show the number of motorists fined for failing to have proper control of their vehicle increasing by 15% over the past 4 years. Motorists who drive distracted also risk facing a fine of around $300.
These fines have been issued to motorists for behaviours behind the wheel such as applying makeup, using an electric razor, brushing their teeth or even reading a book.
But Mr Mountain says the risk is much greater than a fine.
Not fully concentrating while driving, it could cost you a lot more than a $287 fine, plus the victims of crime levy that goes with it.
With speeds reaching up to 110 kilometres on our highways, authorities urge drivers to remain focused with both hands on the wheel. Last year, police officers fined more than 1,200 South Australian drivers, with another 700 receiving a caution.
These behaviours are even more dangerous on regional roads where vehicles travel at far greater speeds.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We take a step back in time to when the late Prince Philip visited the Spencer Gulf. And an Australian music legend tours Silverton ahead of a major outback festival. Hello again. Tributes for Prince Philip have been pouring in following his death over the weekend. Tonight we take a look back at the Royals' tours of the Spencer Gulf. From Whyalla to Port Lincoln, the Duke of Edinburgh alongside Queen Elizabeth were welcomed with open arms, while a special performance was put on by students from across the region.
1954 and Port Lincoln was abuzz. Every street decked out in its best bunting.
It was so exciting to have the Queen and Prince Philip, sort of come to our town.
The official welcome perched precariously on hay bales. The royal couple treated to a right royal performance at Centenary Oval. 12-year-old Betty Adams trying her best to remember the routine.
We were excited and probably a little bit nervous that we didn't do the wrong thing or sway at the wrong time.
From wattle blossoms to lilac, students dressed up as different wildflowers. A taste of Australia for our new Queen and her Prince. The performance going off without a hitch, much to the delight of teachers and special guests.
And then when we'd finished our item, we all raced over to the edge so we could get a closer look as the car drove around the oval.
Heading north, and the Royals were met with an Indigenous dance in Whyalla.
Never before had such a demonstration been given in the presence of women, and the Queen is the only woman to have been told the explanation of the corroboree, as it's called.
The Duke later headed deep into the outback for an out-of-this-world experience, visiting the Woomera rocket range.
The Duke is said to have been fascinated by what he saw.
Crowds flocked wherever they went, trying to get a glimpse.
There were people lining the streets everywhere. It was a wonderful occasion.
The Duke would return to the seafood capital and to visit Ceduna in 2002, his last trip to South Australia. A man revered not just across the Commonwealth, but here in our region.
You can't be sad for too long because he'd had a wonderful life.
Oh, I'll miss him because I thought he was really nice.
His funeral will take place this Saturday night. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
An Australian music legend has toured Silverton ahead of the inaugural Broken Hill Monday Monday Bash later this year. Organisers say tickets are selling beyond expectations and are looking at options to allow more locals to attend.
An iconic Aussie artist at an iconic Aussie location. Ian Moss taking in the sights of Silverton ahead of his performance here in August.
The ultimate high is to actually get out in front of people and play, and if that can be enhanced by numbers of people and fabulous settings like this, then it's the ultimate.
Mossy joining other A-list musicians set to play at the first Broken Hill Monday Bash.
Some terrific musicians, and it's great to be to be part of that group.
The event aiming to be the biggest ever held in outback New South Wales, with 10,000 people expected to converge on the plains.
We had our goal to sell tickets within a 5-month period, so to be 90% or best part of 90% sold out in 3 weeks is just really blown us away.
That's despite tickets to the 3-day festival costing almost $600. Organisers say they're looking into day passes for locals.
There's a bit of work to do to work out all the logistics of that and so forth, but we think it's doable, and we'd like to do that to support the local community as best we can.
Either way, it's still expected to provide a multi-million-dollar boost to the Far West.
I would expect $10 million would be a very conservative figure to say that money tourist money would get spent in New South Wales outback, and particularly a lot of that in Broken Hill.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Traffic along a major road in Broken Hill will soon be disrupted due to upgrade works. From this morning, the Ryan Street entrance to the industrial area is reduced to 1 lane, with the Wentworth Road entrance to follow. Locals are asked to be patient and follow signage, with work expected to be completed by the end of next month. Stay with us after the break. We'll have all the highs and lows from Broken Hill's first footy game of the season, and Alex Sykes will join us with weather. Welcome back. The 2021 footy season has kicked off in Broken Hill after a COVID-induced hiatus last year. Teams keen to prove themselves to new coaches and players marking game milestones. Here's Lachlan Itter with this week's Footy Wrap.
It was a historic start to the footy season. Not only was it the first round to be played in 18 months, but every club had players celebrating major milestones. North and Central lifted the curtain on round 1. Fresh faces at the helm of the Magpies. Coach Greg Wellington and captain Jordan Gilby leading the side for the first time. The skipper also marking his 100th game. But Central were completely outclassed, kicking just 4 goals. 6 debutants running out for the Dogs, the 2019 finalists making light work of their rival. The win fitting recognition for Jaden Kelly, clocking up 200 games with the club. The scoreboard grim for Central, a 100-point margin, giving North a huge percentage boost to start the year at the top of the ladder. In the other games, South were hoping to make an example of West, taking just 3 minutes to open their account. The Robins replying with a behind moments later as the battle heated up. But the pressure seemed to only spur the Westies on. Cody Shawn kicking 6 goals to boost the Roos total, but it wouldn't be enough. West leading the way right through the game to take the win by 18 points. The Robins setting the bar high against the reigning premiers and cementing their potential to be holding the cup in September. The stage has been set for a thrilling season ahead. We'll keep you up to date with the local footy in your region every Monday, and I'll be back tomorrow night with a look at the rest of the weekend sport.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening, everyone. Well, after a bit of a cold snap over the weekend, things did start to heat up today with mainly fine conditions. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was a mostly sunny 24 degrees. Port Lincoln reached 21 and Broken Hill got to a high of 18 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla and Kadina and Cleve all reached 23. It was mostly sunny in Port Pirie, 22. Also mostly sunny in Clare, 20 degrees. Cloudy in Woodner, 24. Cooper Pedy was mostly sunny, also got to a high of 24 degrees, and Adelaide was mostly sunny and 21. Taking a look at the satellite image now, high cloud over southern parts of SA in the jet stream is not producing any rain. Low patchy cloud in the southeast corner with onshore winds is bringing the odd shower. Clear and dry elsewhere with a high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. North to northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 knots south of Port Neal to Port Victoria from mid-evening. Seas around 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell 2 to 3 metres, but that will increase to around 1.5 by the early evening. Windy and cloudy across the region tomorrow, but with slightly higher temperatures. A shower or two and windy in Port Lincoln, 29 degrees. Cleve is set to be very windy and partly cloudy, 28. Possible shower and windy in Woodner, 29. Whyalla, partly cloudy and windy, 29 degrees. The same in Port Augusta, Kadina, 27. Port Pirie, 28. A max of 25 in Clare. And Broken Hill will be partly cloudy and a max of 24. Taking a look further through the week now, cooling down on Wednesday. Cooper Pedy, partly cloudy and 22 degrees. Cloudy and a max of 23 in Broken Hill, Port Augusta, Woodner. Showers in Port Pirie, Kadina and Adelaide, a max of 22 and partly cloudy in Port Lincoln. Clearing up on Thursday, mainly fine conditions across the Gulf, a max of 23 in Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 22 in Woodner, Whyalla and Port Lincoln, 21 and showers if you are heading to Adelaide. And heating up on Friday, a max of 24 in Cooper Pedy, sunny and 22 in Broken Hill, partly cloudy and 22 in Whyalla and Adelaide. Kadina set to reach 23 degrees, Port Augusta, Woodner and Port Pirie all 24 degrees and partly cloudy. So definitely in for some mild temperatures this week, Ruby, but looks good heading into the weekend. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.